So in this video, I'm going to do kind of an unboxing and just talk about each of these different types of charcoals, the pastels, the tortillon stumps, a couple of kneaded erasers, and just share what my thoughts are as I'm using each of them. So we'll start off with the Prang. It comes with a medium, which is like a charcoal gray, almost black but not quite, and then a soft one, which is more of a true black. The way that these sharpen is both convenient and can be a little bit tricky or tedious sometimes. You pull this string down and you have to get along the perforation. There's actually two rows in what I have here. So there's a perforation, there's another perforation in between, but I am going to try to see if I can actually remain on that perforation and unravel. There we go. All the way up. And there we go. Once this is too long and you're trying to draw with it and it gets in the way, just take scissors and cut it so it's a little bit shorter so you're not drawing on the string itself. So conveniences of this are that it's really great for large areas if you're doing a large fabric study, for getting large blocks of values down. It's a little bit trickier for the details. You can always sharpen it and get a chisel point on a piece of paper or on a sanding block like this, using this to shape the point of it. Potential issues are that sometimes if you unravel too much, you end up with a really fragile, long piece of charcoal that can break really easily, or if the paper gets thinner and thinner and thinner, you can end up unraveling and really still not ending up with a lot of the charcoal showing. Just whatever you do, don't pull the string all the way down, because then it can all unravel. In terms of the colors themselves, this is the black. You can see it's just mildly dusty, not an overabundance of charcoal dust coming off from it. And here's the charcoal gray. This is 601M for medium. This is 602S for soft. The pigment on the gray is just a little bit more of a true charcoal gray, not really a black. It may or may not show up so well on camera, but in person I really like to have my students start with this one and then use this to push the edges, just to create separations between cast shadows and the object, or just where you need that extra little dark area. So we don't use this necessarily a ton, just for the more rich blacks. The next one for a pencil that I'm going to look at is the Generals, this little 4-pack. It comes with a 6B, a 4B, and a 2B. So the 6B being the darkest and the softest, the 2B being a medium pencil. Also comes with a white pencil and with a kneaded eraser, which I'll get to at the end of the video. So here's the 6B. Do a quick little value scale. Let me zoom in so you can see how much dust is or is not created. Here's your 4B. The 2B, this is again more of a charcoal. It may appear that it's black until you actually compare it to the 6B, and the 6B is more of a rich, pure tone, and this is charcoal, almost black but not quite. And the white is a nice, rich, pigmented white. I'm happy with this white for most of my students' projects, especially when we work on toned paper like this, and we're trying to create those nice pops of highlights and values and reflections off of glass and metal. It's really beautiful. And then I do black and white striped fabric. This and then the paper show through. They all work really well together. This is a compressor. It's round. Comes in the slocks. One of them in there. And it's definitely a compressed charcoal, and this that it's creating a little bit of dust, but it's fine dust, not as green. On this is rich. It's easy to skim across this of the paper light. I have to put a decent amount to mid pressure to get the black values, and this is other than being for it's rich to draw with. I'm really happy with this one. Next is Alpha Color Soft Pastels. So they're these black, the square sticks. These are going to find to be the most dusty out of everything that we're using. It's softer, it's compressed, but it doesn't feel as dense as the previous one. And I find this one a little bit more challenging to go light with. If you compare the texture of the paper on this, it just even there looks a little bit more streaky, and the texture of the paper isn't showing quite as much as here. The tooth of the paper, it's very, very dusty. So, like a typical pastel, great for probably blending and smudging in together, but it will create a significant mess as you're doing so. It's good for large areas and backgrounds, but even just rolling it off the side there did leave charcoal on the paper. It is extremely dusty and good for large areas and for blending. Okay. Next is this vine charcoal. I like vine charcoal for doing rough drafts, vine charcoal for things that are going to be more temporary. We don't want to use these for our permanent final drawings. It will be a charcoal gray. I can go lighter. There tends to be, I can feel like little hard spots in here. It's not necessarily as high of a quality. I don't buy vine charcoal to be as high of a quality. I use it for sketching, because now when we go to erase things, this will smudge and stain your paper a lot less than this. So as I'm having students rough out areas, they want to completely erase it. We'll talk about kneaded erasers in a minute, but if they want to completely erase it, this goes away pretty well compared to this. You can see how I can get back to more of the pure paper color than I can up there. What about this one? Yeah, these compressed charcoals will stain your paper a lot more. So these should not be used until your proportions and everything are figured out if you're working on still life. I like to do transfers from rough draft to final copy sometimes, and we would use a vine charcoal to do that. So I think I changed my mind. I am going to make the blending stumps and the kneaded erasers a separate video just for easy scrolling. So if you want to reference back to these two, you don't have to go through all of the charcoals first.